good guy.
No.
And I think this is important. I think some people will say, well, why bring that stuff up? I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of these people say the past is the past. It's not the past. The past is a direct relationship of where you are now and why. And it gives, he comes on here and he pretends like he is the sweetest guy in the world and always flashing that stupid heart thing with his fingers and says how much he loves everybody and this and that. But tell us about some of the things that had, some of the run-ins with law enforcement that he's had.
Sure. So in 2018, he was charged with battery and disorderly conduct with a modifier of domestic abuse, and that was against 3 victims. I don't know who they. Yeah, I don't know who they are. It was just initials. But yeah, 3 victims for that one.
Now, did he just stay on probation for that, or was there any jail time for him? Do you know? 'Cause I'm not even sure about it.
Yeah, that's okay. 2 years probation for each count.
Okay.
Yeah.
So multiple years he had to stay on the straight and narrow.
Right.
But did he?
He did not. He did
Shocking.
not. In 2019, he got
so that would be a year.
Yep. Exactly almost a year to the date, actually. Disorderly conduct with another modifier of domestic abuse. And that was on 1 victim, and he was ordered 5 days. He got credit for 5 days of jail time. So that was that one.
Wow. But wait, there's more.
There is. This is his latest criminal one. In 2022, he was charged with a felony intentional harm of a child.
Awesome.
And that was verified by his mother saying, well, it was his cousin, and the cousin had a bad attitude as well. But he was also charged with battery and disorderly conduct. And that was against 2 victims. So I don't know the cousin story. I mean, one could have been the cousin, but I don't know.
This dude has a hothead.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because you need to be careful with who you follow on this app, who you're going to give money to on this app, and who you're going to support. This guy comes across like he is the sweetest individual in the world, and they hit a bad time and they need help and this and that. This dude is not a nice guy. I mean, you can base what you think about somebody on whatever you want. I try to look at the whole ball of wax, and one of the parts of the wax is their criminal history. I mean, take a look at, for instance, Thomas, the guy that we blew the whistle on. Okay, right. He came across as such a nice guy. What do we find out about him? He is like practically the freaking Grim Reaper. Mm-hmm. Okay? But this guy is not a nice guy. He's nowhere near a Thomas level. But, he's done some pretty shitty stuff to people, and he's gotten caught for it. So the thing in 2022, he caught more charges for that. Did he have to go back to jail for that or no?
He did not. He was on probation for 2 years. And because he finished his probation for that without getting in trouble, the felony was dismissed. So that was dropped. So he does not have the felony on his record only because he finished the probation.
Okay, and has he been on the straight and narrow since 2022?
Since criminally, as far as I know, yes. There was no other records criminally.
Okay, good.
Yes. There's an eviction, though, on his record.
Right. Now, he likes to say that they were thrown out of the building or the place because the person they were living with, what's the reason he gives? They just kicked him out because of what reason? What's his story?
Okay, I could probably recite it for you word for word. 'Cause
Oh,
he does it
goody.
all the time. We were living with a blind guy. He took advantage of us. He tried to abuse and take advantage of my girlfriend, and he would walk around the house naked. And when we went out one day, he changed the locks on the doors, and we saved him from a fire over 30 times and saved him from getting run over by a car. Yeah.
Wait, and just in that story alone, how did he change the locks on the door if he's blind?
Thank you. Yes,
Okay, checking.
yeah, yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah. Yeah. So he, took advantage of them. And, why would we live like that? And he would never clean up after himself. But Ty, when you left the house and they went to go clean out your room, there was takeout containers all over the place with maggots in them.
Mmm. Love me some of those maggots in Chinese food. That's delicious.
Yes.
That's disgusting.
Yep. And he complains that he's in, a roach infested motel. Well, gee, I wonder why.
Now, he was, I've seen the paper. They were evicted.
Yes.
Evicted. Was there a reasoning for the eviction or no?
No, I mean, he owes $459 in court costs. Both of them are on the paperwork. So, he says that they vacated. They might have vacated before, the eviction went through. I don't know that whole entire story, but yeah, they both have a judgment against them for the eviction.
Right, and I mean, there's a lot of reasons people get evicted, but the most common reason is people don't pay.
Right.
So, I mean, so we know that story is a bunch of crap.
Exactly. And going over his Facebook, I saw in 2023, he was also living with somebody and he had issues there too. So it's a repetitive behavior when they live with somebody. That wasn't his first time. And also we had a woman come into our box that she met them on TikTok and allowed them to live with her. And I should have went back in my life and watched the reason why. I believe something happened with her family that they had to leave, but they've been hopping around.
Awesome. So I mean, he comes across to me, I know what oppositional defiance is. As I said, I've dealt with kids with that before, and to me personally, I think that is a dangerous label to put on somebody because I think sometimes there's nothing behind it more than, somebody, it's not that they're defiant, it's just that they're assholes, quite honestly. And, he comes across as somebody, when people tell him to get a job or to do something, he doesn't like being told what to do. I mean, the thing is, nobody really likes to be told what to do. But when you have a job, when you have a landlord, when you're not doing something right, yeah, you're going to get told what to do. And most people will listen and do what they need to do to be able to keep a job or to do whatever.
Exactly.
And I just get the sense from him that it has nothing to do with that. He's just a loose cannon,
And not to go into personal, like my son has the same exact issues as Ty. My son graduated high school with his associate's degree, is almost done with college right now. He's 19 years old. He's going to be getting his bachelor's here soon in mathematics. He holds down a job when he's not in school. He helps my parents. He lives with my parents, and he helps on their land. So, and I never, like growing up, I never told my son, like, you have issues, or this is wrong, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. Like, and I don't like talking on parenting skill, but,
I don't either, but, I think about, with other awareness people I've covered with Maggie, her mother got in a box one time and was talking, and you could see exactly where where Maggie gets her attitude from and all that. So sometimes it is important to find out about the parent and talk to them, because just like with with your students, you get a better idea of why the students the way they are when you meet their parents.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many times I've had kids that were disruptive in class, and had the air of entitlement and this and that, and then all of a sudden you meet the parents, you're like, oh shit, now I know why. I mean, because this is what they're living in. Their parents are allowing them to behave like this because they behave like it.
Absolutely. Well, and she has said that all of her kids are on a check. So every minor that she has, she gets a check for.
Wow. So let's talk about, this is one of my favorite things. By the way, Carrie, I offered you a box if you want to come up. I would love to hear from you. And I don't want you. I don't want you to trash them. You don't have to trash them, but you might be able to add a little insight into what's going on with them. That's it. I don't want you to say anything you don't want to at all.
There's actually a couple of mods in here. I never call them out when they come into the lives.
Anybody who wants to come up, please. Ask. Request a box. I'll bring you up, and you could tell us, what you want. And if you don't want to just sit in here and listen, that's great too. Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't bother me. So, my favorite thing that he says, and I nearly spit my coffee out. I heard this about probably 3 weeks ago or more. Somebody asked him about why he can't work, and he said he has a doctor's note. A doctor's note, okay?
Yeah.
A doctor's note that he can't work. Now, we all know that you get doctor's notes for your kids when they go to the doctor and they say, please, little Diddums can't participate in PE this week because he has a sprained thumb or something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a doctor's note supposedly that says, big Diddums here can't work.
Yes.
And that's because of his diagnosis.
Right. Well, when his mom got in a box, she said, you need to stop saying that because you haven't been to a doctor in years. And he hasn't said it ever since.
There are absolutely different levels of autism.
Oh, sure.
I've seen them all. I have seen them all. I have taught them all. I've met them all. And he cannot keep using a doctor's note as an excuse. Exactly. He is just lazy. He is like a bunch of people on this app that rather than pulling his pants up, putting his belt on, and going out and making an honest living, he'd rather sit there and dance around like a doofus in front of a phone for an hour and a half to collect $65.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Today it was only 51.
Sorry.
Today it was only 51, which was very weird, but I was shocked when he came on and, only 51 today. Oh, okay. But
tell me a little. I know there's a big story behind Bree, and Bree you barely see on the camera. I've only seen her a handful of times since I've been watching them for about a month or so, a little over a month. Tell us a little about Bree.
Okay, well, Bree used to be on here a lot, doing her makeup and things. Bree was spotted online and hasn't been on the camera in months. The reason for that is last year, Bree was involved in a huge pregnancy scam with two huge creators on this app.
Tell us a little bit about the scam, will you?
Sure. She went to the creators, and they've asked me not to, use their names.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
She went to the creators. She said she was pregnant and she was homeless, and where she was, she couldn't have any food. So, of course, the good people wanted to help her. They put it out on their platform, and she heard, she collected money and gifts, which, of course, the gifts were returned. And when it was time to have the baby, she said the baby passed away, and that the hospital said that it was too small to bury. So there was no proof. And
Too
she
small.
got,
Okay. Interesting. Now, do we have any idea, ballpark figure, how much money she got from that scam?
I don't. I've been waiting for the number. They're crazy busy. Without going into too much detail.
That's
Yeah.
okay. But at some point, you'll get kind of a number
Oh yeah.
down the road, and you won't have any problem with sharing that number with
No,
anybody, right?
not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
So now this happened last year, you say. Now, how long have these two been together for?
They've been together. I know they've been together over a year. I wrote it down somewhere and I can't find that paper. But
So
they've been
the whole
together.
baby thing, it was when he was with her.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And was it supposedly his baby?
I'm guessing so and then after I came out with that, she made a video on the page about some kind of cockamamie trying to, that she was SA'd, but she still loves the man. Made no sense.
So, okay, so one of the big red flags again about these people, and you try to look at these things with all these different scammers, and there's so many things that always have in common. Number one, they can't work. Why can't she work?
She can't work. First, it was because she didn't have an address. And, because they were living in the hotel. And then everybody was like, well, you can use a hotel address. Or what address did you use to go to school with? Or, you could use social service. Like everybody was kind of debunking that. Well, now it is because she lost her ID. And in Wisconsin, friend of mine lives there. It is free to get a state ID. She doesn't need a driver's license. She can get a free state ID to work. And before she met him, if you go back on her videos, she's worked in a couple different places. She was making it in life. She was working. She had a roommate. She had an apartment. And then she became homeless and met him in a homeless shelter. And since then, this is what they've been doing.
So, let me guess, she's got no family that can help out, right?
She does have family. She does have her mom. Her grandmother passed away. She has her aunt because the grandmother left her a Gerber policy, and the aunt had control of the money, and that's how she got into cosmetology school. But she hasn't been to school since December.
And she is in cosmetology school, or she was.
Right.
Okay. And as of up until December, and she hasn't been back there since.
Correct. The other day he said it's too cold for her to go to school, was his
Oh
excuse.
my God.
Yeah, first it was she has a headache. And then the one day it was, well, it's a half a day, and the teacher called her and told her, just don't bother coming in.
I heard that excuse, and I laughed my ass off at that one.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever tell you not to come in if it's a half day.
Exactly.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was / possibly, maybe, doubtfully is still in cosmetology school, and that's why she can't work.
Right. Oh, yes, the bus fare. I'm glad Deb brought that up. Well, at one point it was, I have no money for bus fare. This one woman, really nice lady, said, here, and it was her birthday. I remember this, and said, I'm going to send you $12 for the bus, so she can get to work. or to school. I'm sorry. I obviously spent the money on something else because she never got the bus pass. The woman went back into the chat the next day and was like, why isn't she in school? What's going on? Ignored her, and ended up blocking her. And I know it was $12, but I don't care. You get like, sorry.
Yeah.
It just made me mad.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Hi, Christina. Did you mean to come up?
Yeah, I'm a ex-mod of theirs, and I just wanted to clear something up so it didn't like go any further. The pregnancy scam was it wasn't Ty's. It was her supposed best friends, and he wanted her to take care of it at the doctor office.
I dig it.
So
I dig it.
I didn't want like him to be thrown under the bus, even though he clearly deserves it. But I didn't want that to go on and like people to think that it was his per se baby, because I was told when I first started modding with them that it was the best friend. It was before her, like a week before her and Ty met at the homeless shelter.
Okay, so that's, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, that's my fault.
No, nobody's fault. I just didn't want anybody to like come after you for like not knowing more or whatever. So no, nobody's fault, dear. And I just wanted to clear that up, but I'll drop.
And no, don't drop it. I want to thank you too, because you know, anything that you can clear up if we're not accurate, that's the most important thing, because we don't want to put anything out there that is not accurate. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Go ahead.
Just for my curiosity, how long did you mod for him for?
I modded from the end of July, early August until December. Actually, all 5 of us mods left the same time in one night. After Just Stop's live, we watched it, and Ty went in there acting a fool, and like he cussed us mods out all night long while he was live and kept going into their live, and I had 2 devices, so I just modded and watched the live on the other device, and we all had a mod group chat on TT, and there were 2 girls that left right before I did. I said, I can't be involved in this. Like, I'm the granddaughter to a sheriff. I'm not going down for anybody else's crimes. I'm leaving also. And then 2 after me left.
Now, so have you actually talked to Ty or Bree off of the app?
Off of the app, no. Like, I did not give out like my CA. Other mods did, because that's how they were transferring to the one CA that nobody was supposed to know about. But I did not give my CA or any of my personal like information out, no phone number, nothing like that. The only way all of us spoke without being in a live was the mod group chat.
Okay. And tell me, so I mean, you've talked to him, have you ever talked to him like in the mod chats? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's the only one that would ever answer, because I don't know what her issue was. After she got recognized for that big scam, she ended up shaving her head in like September-ish, because she didn't want to be noticed again while going live. And in November, Ty started taking over. And from November till the end of December, when I left, I saw her 3 times in over a month. And it was just Ty always online. And I told him to begin with, I said, I okayed modding for Bree because like she could bring the views, like she'd have over 1,000 people in her room. And like people were being mean because she has some birth defects, so she gets migraines really bad. And so like people were being rude to her about it. And so I get migraines. And so I said, hey, if you ever need help, let me know. I'll help make sure like people aren't being nasty and snooty to you. And they modded me right then and there. And like literally 2 months later, she never came on.
Right.
He always
Now,
took over.
you know, this is this is something that I wanted to get some insight in. In your opinion, since you have talked to her, in the mod chats or whatever, my sense is she might have some type of a disability.
Yes. She does talk
Is
like
that
a baby
accurate?
quite often.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if there was, anything in terms of that going on where,
Ty's mom had mentioned in one of Just Stop's lives, because Ty's mom got him on disability at age 4. So she had mentioned, like, when Ty started bringing her around, that she just kept it to herself. She never said anything to Bree because she didn't want to make her feel like any different. Like, so she kept it to herself. But she opened her mouth on Just Stop's live a couple times and said her mom should have gotten her a check. Like she said that there has been times where she is worse than her own son. Like intellectually.
it's like, okay, yeah. Yeah, there's, and that's a little concerning because, I don't know a lot about Bree. I know more about Ty, and it's a little bit concerning to me that she might have a slight disability, and there's him who is very manipulative
And violent.
and very controlling, and has a nasty streak through him.
Yeah. Like people ask me, I've come on and spoke to a different couple lives. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Digital.
Yep.
But I spoke with her also, and some people have asked me, well, if he was so nasty to you mods, like, what made you stay so long? Like, why did you? Well, out of all of the 5 mods, I'm in Iowa. I was mileage wise the closest to them. Like, if he ever got violent with her, I didn't want her not to have like a way out, whether it's her to come to my city and go to a homeless shelter and like just get away from him. So like I stayed on the longest